I had considered Kepler to be an obsessive mathematician, interested only in calculations and interpreting the calculations from a mathematical viewpoint to create his theory of planetary motion. And suddenly I became aware that there was something else to this man. And when he dropped everything to go to defend his mother, I found that to be almost unbelievable from the personality that I had previously envisaged.
About 25,000 people were executed for witchcraft in 16th and 17th century Germany. And one of the many more who were accused was Katharina Kepler, the mother of the famous astronomer Johannes Kepler. When she is accused in 1615, she's actually at a point in her life where things are going very well. This comes completely unexpected for her and the family and turns into something that is profoundly disturbing and carries over into a trial that will last for 6 years, and in which her son Johannes actually takes over the defense himself to try to avert that the mother will be burnt for witchcraft.
Kepler is famously a scientist who is interested in establishing Copernican proof about the way the universe functions. But he's also something of a magical thinker in himself, surrounded by prophecy and magic and hermeticism. And he also has the most profound doubts about the scientific coherence of what he's doing, or more, whether that form of knowledge is sufficient to what he's trying to investigate. So there's a wonderful line in the libretto about how he can't make prophecy into proof with poetry. He can't create proofs out of poetry because however much you rhyme, dissonance remains. So I see him as somebody against the odds of his own professional identity, as deeply in touch with something other, or what psychoanalysis might even call the unconscious. Enter his mother. Because I think what happens with his mother in the accusation of her as a witch and in his extraordinary dream sequence is that she becomes the screen onto which all these other types of taboo or dangerous or threatening knowledge can be projected and then expunged. But of course it fails.
When I finished my book, I thought there's really got to be a new opera about this subject, because there's one by Paul Hindemith, which absolutely depicts a mother as this crazed old crone. And there's one by Philip Glass that doesn't mention the story at all. And I wanted to put together a team of a composer, a video artist, and a whole range of academics from Cambridge and beyond to develop new perspectives and take part in cultural production and create a new way to tell the story.
So for Kepler, I've tried to go to some of the things that he's quoted in The Harmony of the World and started to base my musical ideas on them. For lots of the rest of the story, one drinking song in particular has proved to be very fertile territory. So I've had a sense that my music is starting to transform and conjure with materials from the 16th century, and that as I've been doing it, that material has gone in some unexpected directions. This is Ihr Brüder, lieben Brüder mein by Johann Hermann Schein, and it goes like this. And this opening idea it's a very simple tune just based on a major triad, and an example of how it's changed is the way we hear it the first time we meet Katharina, and you'll hear that material in a much more dissonant environment than in the drinking song.
I mean, the bit of the harmonies of the world that people tend not to read, or at least historians of science tend not to read, is all about overcoming conflict in politics. And from start to finish, he's faced with confessional conflict, political conflict, personal conflict, and this is the most intense period of his life.
Yeah.
Every possible conflict is going on, and he is struggling in his work.
So there's something very interesting there, isn't there, which is the relationship between seeing the work as a form of escape, and I think a lot of scholars who've tried to make sense of Kepler's projects around 1619 have thought of it as a kind of withdrawal. But on the other hand, I think what you're also implying, and surely this makes sense, is that he thinks that the work is therapy in the sense that it can offer a path to resolve, or at least deal with, precisely those real-world, macroscopic struggles in which he and his world are engaged.
There is a rather tragic side to that.
Yeah.
It's very much brought out in this work I mentioned to you by Aviva Rothman, that there he is throughout his life struggling to overcome these conflicts. None of them are overcome. He dies with them all unfinished and unresolved. And
knows that, after all.
Yes.
One of the things that fascinated me the most about this project is the idea of bringing the voice of Katharina into audibility, as it were, or making it somehow visible. And this is something that I tend to work with in my other projects as well, which are very much to do with the female voice, sometimes literally, but other times really a kind of question of female agency, and in particular in the area of science and knowledge production. I guess one of the key features of my film work is the camera kind of really getting inside the device that I'm looking at and looking at it afresh, so in a way that it might not have been seen before, to reveal different qualities.
So in a way, I see it as a love story. I see it as a love story between a son and his mother, because he rides to her rescue to save her. But it's also a love story because it's as if he's saying, I need you to carry for me the forms of the knowledge which most tempt me, most support me, but which the wider world sees as evil or dark or unbearable to countenance.
Mazi, mazi, mazi,